Hello you all people, welcome back, and in today's video we'll be talking about the muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. So the anterior abdominal wall consists of 5 pair of muscles, 5 on either side of midline, 3 large flat muscles and 2 vertical muscles. So the 3 large flat muscles are external oblique, internal oblique and transverse abdominis. The 2 vertical muscles are rectus abdominis and pyramidalis muscle. So talking about the external oblique muscle. So in this picture we can see clearly. So the lower 8 ribs, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 ribs. It arises from them from the outer surface and it gets inserted running downward, forward and medially. As you can see here, it runs downward, forward and medially. It's like putting a hand through the pockets. So the insertion it's very specific. So the posterior most fibers which you see here, they're inserted on the outer lip, on the anterior 2/3 of the iliac crest. So the iliac crest has anterior 2/3 and posterior 1/3. The anterior 2/3 has an outer lip, inner lip and intermediate area. So it gets inserted into the outer lip, the posterior most fibers, and the remaining fibers, they pass forward. As here, the remaining fibers, they pass downward and forward and medially, forming an aponeurosis anteriorly. So this gets inserted into the linea alba, which is extending from the xiphoid process above to the pubic symphysis below. So the upper border, this part is overlapped by pectoralis major muscle and the lower border is free, and the free lower border, as you can see here, is modified to form inguinal ligament. This is the inguinal ligament, the lower free border, and you can also see the opening here. So this is the superficial inguinal ring. So we have inguinal canal, and there are 2 openings of the inguinal canal, which are superficial and deep inguinal ring, and the superficial inguinal ring is formed by the external oblique muscle. So talking about the nerve supply, it is supplied by the anterior primary rami of lower 6 thoracic spinal nerves, as you can see here, from T7 to T12. So they start from here, T7, T8, T9, T10, T11, T12. It supplies the external oblique muscle. So anteriorly, anteromedially, we have the aponeurosis, and posterolaterally we have the fleshy fibers of external oblique. This is the superficial muscle, superficial most muscle. So moving on to internal oblique muscle, it originates from the inguinal ligament down here, the iliac crest, and posteriorly thoracolumbar We'll see that now. So as you can see here, inguinal ligament, iliac crest, and posteriorly thoracolumbar fascia. So this is how it looks. This part is from thoracolumbar fascia, iliac crest, and this part is the inguinal ligament part. So talking about the insertion, it is inserted upward, forward and medially, right angle to the insertion of external oblique. So external oblique were directed downward like this, but internal oblique is directed upward and perpendicular to the insertion of external oblique. So it is inserted upward, forward and medially to the lower ribs, lower 7, 8, 9 rib, costal cartilage, and the linea alba, which extends from xiphoid process upward to the pubic symphysis downward. The posterior most fibers, they ascend vertically upward over here, the posterior most fiber. So they are inserted by fleshy fibers into the lower border of lower 3rd or 4th ribs. The anterior most fibers, they run medially. Most of the fibers, they get inserted into the 7th, 8th, 9th costal cartilage. The posterior most fiber, they ascend vertically upward and get inserted into the lower border of 3rd or 4th ribs and their costal cartilage. The fleshy fibers from the inguinal ligament here, they fuse with the transverse abdominis muscle, form a conjoint tendon, which we'll talk about in the next slide, and they get inserted into the pubic crest and pubic symphysis over here. We'll see that more clearly. So yeah, as you can see here, 7, 8, 9 ribs anteriorly, insertion. The posteriormost fibers, they get inserted. You can't see it here, but they get inserted to the costal cartilage of 3rd, 4th ribs, the posteriormost fibers, upward, more deeper, and the fleshy fibers from here downward, those over here from the inguinal ligament, they get attached to pubic crest and pubic symphysis. This is the crest and this is the pubic symphysis. They get attached over here. So they get they run upward, forward and medially, get inserted to these 7th, 8th, 9th costal cartilages. The one which is more anterior, the posteriormost fiber, get attached to lower 3rd or 4th ribs, and the fleshy fibers from the inguinal ligament, they get attached to pubic tubercle and pecten pubis. So again, it is supplied by the anterior rami of thoracic nerves T7 to T12 and L1 lumbar nerve. So now let's move on to transverse abdominis muscle. This is the deepest muscle. So the external oblique lies superficially or anteriorly. Middle internal oblique, and the deeper structure is transverse abdominis muscle. So this is more flat, and it arises from the lateral 1/3 of upper surface of inguinal ligament, as you can see here. So the external internal oblique muscle are removed. This is the deeper structure. So in this picture, the lateral 1/3, it originates from the lateral 1/3 of the upper surface of inguinal ligament. Posteriorly, the anterior 2/3 of iliac crest, thoracolumbar fascia, and it is inserted again to pecten pubis and pubic crest by forming a conjoint tendon, which you can see here. So in this picture, you can see clearly the origin from the lateral 1/3 of the upper surface of inguinal ligament. So this is the inguinal ligament here. So lateral 1/3 of the upper surface of inguinal ligament, anterior 2/3 of iliac crest, the inner lip, posteriorly thoracolumbar fascia, same as internal oblique, and the inner surface of lower 6 ribs, as you can see here, inner surface, and their costal cartilage, and it is inserted, most of the fibers are inserted into the pubic crest and pubic pecten pubis by forming the conjoint tendon together with internal oblique over here. So this is the conjoint tendon which is together formed by the internal oblique, and the fibers which run horizontally, so they end in a broad aponeurosis and get inserted to the linea alba, which extends from xiphoid process to the pecten to the pubic symphysis. So this again is supplied by the anterior primary rami of lower 6 thoracic nerves and first lumbar nerve through iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerve. So then we have the structures which are derived from flat muscles. We have already talked about this. The external oblique muscle, inferiorly, it gets modified to form inguinal ligament. You can see here the purple shaded area. So this is the external oblique muscle, aponeurosis, and the fleshy fibers. Aponeurosis anteromedially, fleshy fibers posteriorly. So here its lower free border forms the inguinal ligament. And then the conjoint tendon, which we already talked about. So this is the conjoint tendon, which is together formed by the internal oblique muscle and the transverse abdominis muscle anteriorly, and gets attached to the pecten pubis and pubic crest. And finally we have cremaster muscle, as you can see here. So this is the internal oblique muscle. So this muscle joined by the fascia, which is cremaster fascia, together it covers around the spermatic cord and the testis, forming the cremaster muscle. So you can see here. So moving on to the vertical muscle. So we have two vertical muscles, which is rectus abdominis and pyramidalis, which is present in nearly 20% of people. So rectus abdominis is a long, flat strap muscle. It extends vertically upward from linea alba, from the pubic symphysis below to the costal margin above. So as you can see here, it widens as it ascends from the pubic symphysis to the costal margin. The breadth is more thicker and wider, and it narrows downward. So origin, it has two heads. The medial head arises from the pubic symphysis anterior part, you can see here, and the lateral head. So this arises from the lateral part of pubic crest, the pubic tubercle. Medial head, lateral head, medial head from the pubic symphysis and lateral head from the pubic crest and pubic tubercle. And in insertion, it is inserted on the anterior thoracic wall by 4 fleshy slits along a horizontal line. So this passes laterally from xiphoid process above and cutting the 7th, 6th, 5th costal cartilages. You can see in this picture, it originates down from the pubic symphysis through the medial head and pubic tubercle and pubic crest by the lateral head. It gets inserted along a horizontal line which passes laterally from the xiphoid process to the lower 7th, 6th and 5th costal cartilage. So the muscle has 3 tendinous insertions. As you can see here, it has 3 tendinous insertions, sometimes 4. So the first is at the level of xiphoid process, as you can see here, and the second is at the level of umbilicus, and third at the midway between these two, which you can see here, and sometimes a 4th insertion can be present below the umbilicus. So each insertion passes horizontally in a zigzag manner. It is attached to the anterior wall of the rectus sheath. So talking about the nerve supply, by the lower 5 intercostal and subcostal nerves, which are T7, T8, T9, T10, T11, T12. So this all the flat muscle and the vertical muscle. So all the flat muscles, they have a role in the flexion of trunk, minor role, and also a major role in the lateral flexion of trunk. Rectus abdominis is the major muscle which is involved in the flexion of trunk on pelvis. So finally we have pyramidalis muscle. So this muscle is rudimentary in human beings and it is a small triangular muscle, as you can see here downward. So this lies anterior to the lower part of rectus abdominis muscle within the sheath. So it is a very small muscle, which you can see. So the origin arises from the front of the body of pubis here and the anterior pubic ligament, and it is inserted into the linea alba, as you can see here, midway between the umbilicus and the pubic symphysis over here. So umbilicus, pubic symphysis, it is inserted somewhere in between these 2 points. So nerve supply is supplied by the T12 nerve or subcostal nerve. The basic action it does is it tensors the linea alba. That is all about the muscle. So the functions of these anterior abdominal muscle is they provide strong and expandable support for the abdominal viscera against gravity and protect them from injury, and they compress the abdominal contents, which are the abdominal viscera, intestine, liver, everything that is GIT, and the pelvic organs to some extent, and increase the intra-abdominal pressure and helps in expulsive and expiratory acts. The forced expiration involves the abdominal muscle contraction. Also, they move the trunk to maintain the posture. So that is all for today. I hope you like the videos. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Tell me what you feel. Thank you.